Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Anman, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Katie.
Hello.
Hello. And Nick is here.
Good morning.
And Gal is here.
Good morning, good morning.
And Spence is here.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, Musk owns Twitter now, huh?
Yes, he does.
I had a story that some of the big guys over there were fired. And then
Yeah,
there
the
was
CEO, the CFO, and the
Yeah.
legal head were all pretty much fired the night of the purchase.
and then I saw a story that two guys, pranksters, said,
Yes.
and I said, okay, now is the story I got first about them getting those guys getting fired? Is that not true? Is it part of this? So I started looking. No, it was
Yeah.
there were two.
That was
different-
true. That was a press release.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
But the other one were the two people standing out front with the boxes.
I
I
did
didn't-
Michelle Obama book.
Yeah.
And they made up some names and people went on it. People
Yeah,
were,
pretty funny.
oh, call me,
Well-
I'll help you out and all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, there's this one guy who posted a picture on Twitter. He made a fake Twitter account and he posted it was a picture of him with tears in his eyes, and it said, "I worked at Twitter for 8 years and I got fired," and so on and so forth. And a whole bunch of people were offering him jobs, and Elon Musk is such a bastard. Turns out, if you reverse Google image search, it's the LinkedIn CEO who posted a picture like 8 years ago online of him crying
Oh
over
my
something.
gosh.
That's just what it is. So this guy had like 10,000 followers and all, a whole bunch of people on there. So
Man, I need to do that to get a new job. Just say I worked for Twitter. And
you know what?
cry.
You should just take a picture of you crying. You're a female, so you
Yep.
get a big play on Twitter automatically, and just say, "Hey, I got fired from Twitter." You'll immediately just make up your credentials, and you'll be good to go.
And make
Perfect.
sure you mention several victim groups. So I'm disenfranchised because this and this and this. So you'll have that many better chances.
My favorite fake thing of the week was in regards to Twitter was did you guys see the fake Trump statement
no.
that ended in happy to be able to engage with an African American owned business because Elon Musk is in fact South African. So that was probably my favorite fake post of the week, which is totally something that he would say for the record. But lots of interesting things ongoing. Nothing has changed yet.
Well,
I saw a bunch
those
of
guys
people.
not there anymore.
Yeah, but in terms of the
Policy,
platform
yeah,
and censorship and nothing has changed yet. And it's been unfortunate to see on both sides of the political aisle. You've got people on the conservative side saying how Twitter is so much better already because of the changes Elon Musk has made. He's made none. And on the other side of the political aisle, you're seeing the platform is fallen into the deepscapes of hell, and people are just using terrible words and threatening to kill people, and it's not being censored because of Elon's changes, which also haven't happened either. So both sides are respectfully losing shit.
Oh,
And,
it's
uh,
cool.
Did you
It's-
see the story about the New York Post?
Yeah, they got
it wasn't-
hacked.
They got hacked by an internal employee.
But see, it wasn't a hack, and that's the thing. It's
No,
somebody
it
that had
isn't a hack.
access to
Yeah.
post.
Yeah, it was an internal employee that did
yeah.
it, and they fired him. But it was vile, the stuff he did. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Talk
Yeah.
about killing politicians, and it was pretty brutal. But that stuff is, we've seen stuff like that before
Yeah.
with people, and I just love it. You said it, Spence. If you look it up, hacked. If you looked at the source of the tweets, it was like Social Baker or something like that, which is a platform that companies use to manage their social media. So this was a rogue employee that left a parting gift on his or her way out.
And you know something?
Uh,
The general counsel is also gone.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't mind being one of these guys.
get a good
Chief Customer Officer
termination?
Sarah Personette also fired inside reports. The execs received handsome payouts for their trouble, inside
Mhm.
reports.
probably
Agarwal,
have
who
contracts.
was the CEO, got $38.7 million.
Well, that's because of his
Well,
stock.
Siegel got 25.4 million.
Mhm.
Gaddy got 12.5 million. And Personette, who tweeted yesterday about how excited she was for Musk's takeover, got 11.2 million.
Is that before or after taxes?
No, I'm sure it's before.
I heard that the CEO is going to start his own Twitter.
Oh, good.
What is it called? Like Blue Sky or something?
Parg Agarwal is his name.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's easy to say I'm going to start. Look at Trump with
Yeah,
all
that's
the
not
money and
worked
all
out.
that. Tried, and it just you can't. It's almost like you can't fight it. It's like Don Quixote and the windmill. You can't.
So can I show this? Elon, this guy doesn't sleep or do anything. He tweeted this out at 4:00 this morning. He said he got this email from Twitter, managing at Twitter 101. Hey, Elon, it's time to start managing at Twitter. This is one of their internal classes. It says Management 101 covers what it means to be a good manager at Twitter by showing you how to create opportunities for impact, help your tweeps, I guess that's what they call their employees, which is terrible, grow their careers and demonstrate care for your team. Psst, you've only got 30 days to finish this mandatory course. And once you're done, we'll enroll you in managing at Twitter 201. And he said that this was very, his word was titillating to him that he received this tweet or this email about his mandatory management class as a
Interesting.
now the sole owner of the platform, which is, it's all I'm sure it's part of the HR system that they enrolled him in, and that stuff goes out. But pretty funny that that's going on.
No.
He's going crazy on, like, if you look at his if you go to his Twitter and click on tweets and replies, I mean, he's responding to he's responding
busy.
to some crazy stuff. I mean, he's a character.
I hope he's not neglecting Tesla, because that's where
He's not running any of these companies. He's between SpaceX and Tesla. I mean, yes, he's making some decisions, but especially SpaceX, I mean, he's not doing anything there.
Yeah, he has memes to make. That's his full-time job now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you're somebody like him, you have, and I assume he's done this at both Tesla and SpaceX. He has found the best of the best to run those companies. And Amnon, we have a good friend that works over at SpaceX, and he says, surprisingly, Elon does interact more than he would expect, but day-to-day operation-wise, I mean, he's not running those companies.
he's going to have to be real involved with Twitter in the next.
No, I
at
don't think
least
he
the
does.
next few months.
I don't think so. Again,
No?
I think as you find the right people, and I don't know, his network of individuals has got to be huge just based off of his business dealings in the past. So yeah, I mean, he'll definitely, for the next couple months, I'm sure he'll be, fully invested in the platform, but he'll turn it over to somebody that will be running this on a daily basis. And again, how much of Twitter do you run on a daily basis? What are you sitting there and approving tweets? No, I mean, it's the general
I'm
policies that you
changing
grab.
policies. Yeah, changing.
Yeah, and once that's done, it seemed Twitter's
Yeah.
his big thing, and this comes back to why the platform was even sold in the first place, was that the platform doesn't make any money. They can't sell advertising. So if I would guess, his big thing, his big push is going to be advertising. It has to be, because if not, he's not going to have any money.
He'll figure out a way to make money there, I'm sure. He'll do something. All right. Remember the Pebble?
The watch?
Yeah.
I had one. I loved it. It was a very cool watch.
You loved it?
Yeah, I mean, I had one like 10 years ago.
Well, nearly 6
The
years.
first generation that was not it was the e-paper. It was like the Kindle paper. I actually kickstarted it. It was a really, really cool smartwatch.
Well, nearly 6 years after the Pebble smartwatch was purchased by Fitbit.
6 years ago then.
And discontinued. No, that's when Fitbit bought it and discontinued it 6 years.
Oh, I didn't realize
ago.
that.
A new Pebble app for Android has been released by the Rebel Alliance, a group that has kept Pebble viable for its users since Fitbit shut down Pebble servers in mid-2018. This is coming from Ars Technica. Pebble version 4.4.3 makes the app 64-bit so it can work on the mostly 64-bit Pixel 7 and similar Android phones into the future. It also restores a caller ID function that was hampered on recent Android versions. So there's a group there that's trying to keep it going. If you have one and you put it aside or stash it somewhere, I guess you can update it and use it again.
I just threw mine away 2 or 3 weekends ago when I was cleaning out my desk. It was at the time when it came out. I don't remember when it was. It was well before the Apple Watch. Samsung had just begun with their Gear, I think their first generation Gear smartwatch.
Mm-hmm.
So there really wasn't a standard, or there wasn't really any big boys in the marketplace yet. I mean, we're talking about the era, I think the Pebble and the Google Glass were out at the same time. That era of like probably maybe 2014 or something like that, 2015 maybe. And it was a really, really cool watch at the time. It had some neat apps, but it missed the big thing that the Apple Watch has done so well, and it's the integration with a phone. Or on the flip side, some of the Android watches, if you have a Samsung smartwatch and a Samsung phone, the integration is just hand in glove in terms of hand in glove in terms of compatibility. And some of these third party devices, while yes, they had really great integration, you can't compete with first party in terms of how it works.
Yeah.
So I really, really enjoyed it. It was relatively cheap. I want to say maybe $150, something like
back
that.
Then it was cheap.
Yeah, but it, to be fair, it was e-paper, so it was black and white. It wasn't color. But it was a really, really cool device. I really enjoyed my Pebble.
Well,
in high school.
That's a great segue to colors. It is very likely you don't give a great deal of thought to where the digital colors you use originally came from. Nor probably have you wondered who might own a particular color.
Oh boy, yep.
When you picked it up when creating something in Photoshop. But a lot of people are about to give this a huge amount of their attention as their collection of PSD files gets filled with unwanted black due to a licensing change between Adobe and Pantone.
Yep.
As of now, widely used Adobe apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign will no longer support Pantone-owned colors for free. and those wishing for those colors to appear in their saved files will need to pay for a separate license. And this is real life.
Wait a minute.
Ah, Katie.
This is about the names of the colors, right?
I
Because
don't-
nobody owns the RGB code.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
They don't own the RGB code, but Pantone is, like, for example, if you are a manufacturer or let's say you make T-shirts, the colors that you're using are industry standard as Pantone. That's what everybody uses. So if you're developing for example, these sunglasses, that they have a black, the color is black. This is most likely a Pantone color code. And I agree. Yes, Scott, correct. Nobody owns RGB, but in terms of supplying and manufacturing, this is more than likely a Pantone color. That's the industry standard. This is a huge, huge thing for people that are in the design space. And this is retroactive too. I saw a screenshot on Twitter of some guy with like Photoshop 2017. And he opened it up and got this alert that the Pantone was gone. And you have to subscribe to it. It's like $20 a month. It's expensive.
Wait, hold on. This doesn't make any sense because you can get around it so easily. So what are they blocking? Because in Photoshop, you can have color swatches that you can download. Like you can have a library of colors that
Correct.
it picks for you, which I could see how Pantone or whatever would charge for that. But it doesn't stop somebody from either entering in the RGB values directly or color picking the color, which grabs the RGB value anyways. Just don't have a library of those, like an actual official Photoshop library of those colors. You can make your own library. Like
the problem is if you've got hundreds of saved PSD files and all of your color codes are going to have to be redone manually. That's the problem. Yes, agreed. The color can be changed, but if you have 1,000 documents with all Pantone colors and they're all going to just turn into black, you're going to have to manually go through and reassign those colors. It is going to be a massive pain in the ass.
Yeah. I guess
So
I can see that.
I don't understand part of it now. So you created an image with Photoshop and you saved it,
Mm-hmm.
and you gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I will, if I open it, I will see black.
Yes. It depends. If it's a Photoshop file, yes.
Okay, now wait.
If it's a JPEG, no. I mean, the
Okay.
JPEG is a flat file.
So wait a second. So are the colors being populated dynamically that it will suddenly know, hey, I can't use that anymore? Because
So great example.
Yeah.
So let's say I send you a Photoshop image and we'll use something besides colors. If I send you a Photoshop file, actually, Katie will know this really well. I send you a Photoshop file with a font that's on my computer. You can open the file in Photoshop. If you try to edit the font, it will tell you do not have this font installed.
Okay, that's correct.
It will default back to
Yeah.
Arial, bold, or whatever.
Okay.
But what you could do is if you install the font, then you can click on it and edit it, and you can edit the font. So think about it like that. Think about it in that form.
So what happens if you edit, you finished 2 years ago an image in Photoshop, you saved it as a JPEG, and you gave it to somebody.
JPEGs are flat files. There's nothing wrong with the JPEG.
Okay, but the color is
But you
actually
won't be able
still
to
the
edit.
same. I know.
Yes,
So are
yeah.
we talking just about editing, or
Yes.
are we
Yeah.
talking
Yes.
about using?
Editing.
Editing. I have Photoshop open right now. I use Photoshop daily, and I think this is a minor inconvenience. Like even you were talking about all those files that they have thousands of files that they have to edit. Generally, like they make new files all the time. So it's like usually people don't go back to like 2 or 3 years ago to like edit something or to make, like they're going to make something new, or they're coming out with a new product. This is like product design or something. Or even if it was on a website. So I could see this on a website where somebody was doing website design and like, well, you can't use this color anymore. Like you can't use the direct I don't know, linkage. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about linking it so that when you change the color, it changes everything dynamically. So that's going to be an inconvenient. But again, like I said, it doesn't stop anybody from going in and typing in the actual RGB value of the code or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's just going to come down to, and there are a lot, for example, there's a library called Freetone, which is the Pantone library, essentially open source. But Pantone does own their color codes. For example, one of them is Pantone 102U. That is their color code. And yes, it is just an RGB value, as Gal mentioned, with a hex and luminosity and all of that other stuff. But in terms of industry standards, if you're producing something, you're using Pantone colors. That, like, for example, if you go to a print shop, Pantone is what, or a manufacturing group, Pantone is what they're going to be using for color. So that's the thing here. And this guy showed a 15-year-old PSD that he had. He opened it and it says, quote, "This file has Pantone colors that have been removed and replaced with black due to changes in Pantone's licensing with Adobe. To resolve, click learn more."
So, Katie, can you open an old PSD file that you have?
Yeah,
She doesn't
I don't
you don't use
use
Pantone.
I don't use Pantone. I make
okay.
my own. I select my own colors. Like
Okay.
it's like any image editing thing. Even in Paint, when you open it, there's like a spectrum of a spectrum of hues or whatever, and I just pick from there. I don't. But I'm not a manufacturer company, so that's where I could see.
Well, you're using
annoying.
Using the whole RGB thing, the picker for digital stuff is fine. Doesn't matter because it's being flattened as a JPEG or something. But when it comes to like physical products, you don't have, in most cases, you don't have the full RGB spectrum. There are set standards for colors. So yes, it does not affect, as Katie mentioned, 99 or whatever % of people. But anybody that's in the manufacturing space that uses Photoshop for mockups and anything like that, this is a huge pain for them.
Wonder if they've ever litigated around the colors, because on Wikipedia, specifically on Pantone, it says that there's a disambiguity. So I don't know if this has been tested in court. So this is interesting because it sounds like this is going to this will move towards some sort of lawsuit from one or either side, right? Users suing Pantone for taking it away, or maybe suing Adobe, or Pantone suing users. It's an interesting. It feels a bit like the discussion about NFTs, right? It's like this doesn't seem real. This doesn't seem tangible, but apparently it's very real for some industries, right? So
and just show you Pantone and what they do for physical colors, because one of the things that Pantone is big for is physical color chips that you can use that you use in the manufacturing process. Here's a book of Pantone colors, 7-piece book. It's almost $9,000. The full Pantone color wheel is, I think, $45,000, and that's the full color wheel with all of the chips associated with it. But again, if you're in this industry, this is what you use. There's really not this is just what it is. It's an industry standard. It's very interesting, and most people have never even heard of Pantone.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
I'll throw a link in chat for Linus Tech Tips did a video on this a couple of months ago, because they're now they're manufacturing products, plastic screwdrivers and things like that, and they purchased one of these Pantone wheels and spent a fortune on it. But again, that's just what you have to do.
Here's Gal, you bring up something that's interesting. This also, it makes me think of sports teams. So I did a lot of sports graphics, and each teams have 3 RGB colors that are associated with it, right? So if Pantone comes and like, I own this RGB value and there's 3 numbers, and this is for this color, then now a sports team going to be like, okay, well, this is the Pittsburgh Steeler black and the Pittsburgh Steeler yellow, and no other teams could use this color. But then it's funny because I wonder if the courts come and they're like, okay, well, these are the exact numbers that you have to use for this RGB value. And if somebody else goes up by one digit on the number, then it's technically not. It's just, like you said, it's kind of silly.
Right, exactly. So the litigation is going to be interesting. And as far as teams, I think they trademark their colors. So teams own their own colors, right? So I don't think teams will go against Pantone there, but yes, it is a very interesting situation. I don't think let's put it this way, if we would have discussed this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it'll sound really nuts.
What happens with color cartridges for printers?
Oh, yeah. The who makes the printers? Dell? No, HP. HP is getting on the phone with their lawyer. We have to claim cyan. Get magenta on the line. These are our colors.
Yeah, but I mean, if I
think
print
that
something,
has already happened.
if I'm if I'm printing something now, is it all going to be in black?
Yeah, that's true. Who knows?
Oh, no, just kidding.
What happens if a team copyrights their colors, creates banners, the banners sit in the sun and they fade, and now they're infringing on somebody else's copyright?
That's exactly it.
A never-ending cycle.
Oh, no, there has to be
Well,
safety.
in that case, Spence, in that case, Pantone will need to sue nature.
That's it. The sun.
Exactly.
That's it.
And
sorry, son. You're
the
in
reason
violation.
something
Ultraviolet.
like Pantone even exists is for consistency. So presumably, if you're getting a product made at 3 different manufacturing plants at 3 different places across the world, and you're using Pantone colors, the idea would be that those colors are exactly the same. Where if you're doing RGB values, those colors might not necessarily be the same, depending on what type of RGB spectrum you're using and what is determining the RGB value and things of that nature. So that's why in the manufacturing space it's so big, because you don't want products coming off the line that are, one is a little bit more grayer than black and one is a little bit more blacker than black, or whatever it might be. So
Yeah, but to me, it sounds like Pantone is a relic of an era where communication wasn't freely available, right? And so you had silos of copies of that. But now you can get 3, 4, 10 parties to agree on some open source scale of color, right? So it really, what will be interesting with this going forward is this going to solidify Pantone as a leader, or will it kick it in the ass?
the answer is yes, and I'll tell you why. Because the places that are using Pantone have invested tens of thousands of dollars, and they're not going to drop that. Just they're not gonna drop. They've got so much invested in it already that I don't foresee them changing. I mean,
Right,
it's possible.
They have invested, but it also means that all of their customers suddenly need to invest in it, right?
Well, their customers have already invested in it. If you were
Yes and no.
Yes, I mean, if you're building this if you're having this made at a manufacturing plant and you're the designer of this, you've already invested in the color slates for this product. Now, not this, probably the specific one,
Not
'cause I bought it
necessarily.
at Harbor Freight. Well, I from what I understand about it, I disagree. I think that is what is used for color.
But I think, Gal, I think what you're missing here, though, is if we're going to come up with a new standard, open source.
There is already a standard. It's RGB.
There are.
RGB is the standard, and that's a Pantone color is just an RGB.
Okay,
and it's used.
But it's because the library is being a Pantone library in Photoshop. That's the problem now.
It's not just Photoshop, though.
It's others. But
no, it's not software either. If you're building if you're molding plastic, the color that plastic, which when it's heated up is a liquid, is color matched. That's what it's coming around. This is not just RGB values in Photoshop or Paint.net. We're talking about physically molding products or powder coating products with a color, and that's where that value is the industry standard. So whether you've got a company in China that's powder coating something, or a company in the United States that's powder coating something, if they're using that standard, the products will look exactly the same. That might not be the case if you're doing something else, depending on what is used to generate those colors.
So here's the thing. This feels very familiar. In what term? If we go back to the late 90s, right? Then beginning of 2000, we see the music industry trying to sue the creators of MP3, right? Because it suddenly allows to freely avail music in a very, very easy to distribute manner, right? They're suing Napster, and they're suing the users of Napster. And eventually, right, they did a lot of damage, but eventually, right, what changed was music, and in this case, it's going to be colors, right, has become very easily, very cheap, considering how the industry worked before, right, to everyone. It has leveled the playing field for the distribution of that data. And so here we're coming from an older world, right, of color swatches. And now there is this leader in the industry who is asserting their dominance suddenly. And I'm not saying Adobe here, they were the altruists who helped society, right? That's far from reality. But we're talking about somebody trying to assert the dominance. And to me, it feels, I don't think they're needed anymore. But this is the challenge, the final challenge that will show if their dominance is true or not. Because maybe in the digital age, their dominance was provided by the fact that they were ubiquitous through something like Adobe. And now, just because they can't get to a licensing agreement with Adobe on that, right? It feels like this is going to see who is Goliath and who is David here, right? In this in this play, it's an interesting one.
Here is a question that I don't know if anybody can answer. So you buy Photoshop today, and
you subscribe to Photoshop today. You're not buying.
Right. You subscribe to Photoshop, and you starting from scratch to create something. What colors are you going to be using?
Not Pantone, for sure.
So, you'll be using just the regular You'll be using just the regular Photoshop RGB color scale that they've come up with.
Okay, are these colors any different than what in their look than what Pantone colors are?
Some are, some not.
Okay,
but they don't have a name associated.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
So if you call somebody on the phone, right, and say use this and this color, then you need to designate it by its exact address. It's a bit like DNS.
Okay.
Oh God! Come on! Don't bring up. Hey, I had a lot of respect for you.
Colors.
Come here throwing up DNS like it's nothing. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that at all.
I think people need to not freak out as much about this whole color thing because I think Nick said it earlier. If it's linked to it, like the software is not going through your image and taking out each individual color that you don't pay for or whatever. It's probably a linked service, and then it just breaks the link. So
and if it's really that big of a deal, just subscribe and pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
or you get an older version of Adobe.
No, that's the thing. It's retroactive. Even for older versions, somehow they're turning it off.
No,
are we going to have?
It needs to be an old version that doesn't phone home to the network. There are those,
true.
right?
Yeah, true. You could. I mean, presumably you could run CS 8 or whatever.
I can see it now. I see it now. A whole army of predatory lawyers running late night TV ads. Was your color stolen? Did you have a T-shirt that you made in 1968 and now somebody else is using the same color? Well, we're here to help you. You can make money.
Better call Saul.
That's it. I wonder if there are people who are actually cataloging a Pantone color and saying, well, what is the cross-reference to the specific formula, so to speak, in Photoshop? With it, like you said, it's a DNA. You're going to see a string of variables that give you that color.
Right.
So is there a cross-reference now that no, you can't use that one because and are they going to have to scratch them off the color chart in Photoshop?
Well,
it's weirder and weirder.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how that develops.
Amnon, the color in your background, the gray is, I'm sorry, it's already taken. You have to remove it.
Yeah, it's all going to turn black. Everything. All right. So here's something. Chrome will no longer support Windows 7 nor Windows 8.1 upon the release of Chrome 1.10, currently scheduled to hit stable on February 7th, 2023. From that point on, you'll need to be running at least Windows 10 to maintain access to new builds. This is coming from Android Police. While Google won't be doing anything to stop users of older platforms from continuing to install and run earlier release of Chrome, they'd be missing out on the latest critical security and usability enhancements.
And there'll be an open source group that will provide an alternative version, the way you take the risk of using it, etc., etc.
Talking about
with an open source project like that, that's really what it comes down to, right? It's not Microsoft deciding not to provide because it's closed and you don't have access and all that. So it's interesting, but
I don't know.
It's also funny, I think.
We'll see. But talking about Windows 7, and I mean, I still have 2 machines using it. No, 1 machine. Sorry. No, 2. Yeah, that's 1 too. Here is an interesting situation that happened today. One of my customers called and said that they got a notice, a text file. I mean, a text message that somebody logged into their bank account at 12:20 in the morning when he was asleep. So he changed the password. A few days later, again, he got that somebody logged in to their bank account. Nothing was changed, nothing was stolen, but it was changed. So he called and he said, "What do you think?" I called the bank and they said that I probably have a keylogger on one of my machines, that somebody is just picking it up. I said, okay, so run Malwarebytes, run Defender, run any program that you can. So he did at the office and didn't find anything. I said, so you're using it from 2 machines. What's the machine that you have at home? He said, it's a Windows 7. I said, well, you need to do it there too. And Windows 7 does not have all the security stuff, and it could be.
Only that, Windows 7 is susceptible to some really nasty rootkits.
So first,
even scanning won't show it up. So.
First thing first, he asked the bank, and that's a business. He asked the bank about 2-factor. They told him that they have it for the higher price plan, whatever. And I said, well, I've got just the standard one. We're using the same bank. I said, I have it. So we said yesterday he was at his house. I was here. and we got it to work. It didn't work first. For some reason, it wouldn't send him a text. I said, okay, put your phone number. He got a phone call that with the code. I said, okay, now try it. And suddenly it started working. But the bank told him his account does not have it, which is ridiculous.
Hold on. They might have a tier of accounts where you can get an actual physical fob with a rotating number.
Okay.
And that requires an
That's-
additional.
Okay. But no, he was talking about two-factor, 2FA. Now,
Yeah, but
This
that's the
bank-
thing. That used to be called 2FA.
this bank says we don't support 2FA. We support MFA, multifunction. Okay, I said,
It's
well,
the
maybe
same,
that's where, these are bankers. They're not techies.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what it is. But anyway, it's working. He changed his password. And also, I told him, I said, he did not want the browser to save it. And
Yeah.
what the hell? I hate this. Okay, so we're talking about virus and whatever, and here comes Defender telling me it's the first time I see this on the
about
production machine. Didn't find anything. Why did you check now? Anyway, so I told him, I
Don't
said,
you have
"Look,
Cortana search? You said the word, and Cortana started searching.
I don't know.
Cortana doesn't exist.
I don't have
anymore.
Cortana.
They removed it.
What is it called?
They removed it. They killed it.
Well,
They didn't
I
kill it?
always
they
disable
did.
it on
Oh.
machine.
Well, I mean, I always disable it too, but still.
So I told him, I said, I let the browser remember it. Because if you don't type in the password every time, a keylogger has nothing to do. It's right, it's there. It doesn't even know that it's there. It's when you type each keystroke, it captures them. But if you remember it and the browser just enters it in there, autofill, then nothing would happen. So I said, okay. So he changed that also. And then I got a text from him, an email from him today that's saying that he got a text that somebody put the wrong password. Somebody was trying to log in with the wrong password. So but of course now you have to have also the code that goes to his cell phone and all that. So it's another added thing. But it was interesting that twice he changed the password and somebody, not him, found what the password is and entered. I told him, I said, look, you're going to have to update Windows 7 because I wouldn't do any financial or anything important on Windows 7. If you just want to use it to browse and there's nothing on it that you care about, it's fine. But not to do this kind of work. But I told him, I said, run it anyway because you want to find out if there was a keylogger, which I can see that there wasn't. And he didn't use.
I don't know.
And he didn't use a simple password. He used a phrase with a few words.
So here's the thing, right? Even if there is a keylogger, it means that somebody, a human being, right, took the data and tried it out.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem likely. It's somebody he knows. It's somebody that knows the password. Or it is something of his that somehow automatically accesses.
Well,
it, right? That's my guess. It's like there's Mint, the service, where you put in your credentials and it pulls the bank records and show this for you, right? This is automatic. You put the credentials there. So it's something of that nature. It's something very, very specific to him. So that's why
I don't know.
I doubt a keylogger. Unless somebody is, actively eavesdropping on him, which is not very likely, right? It doesn't really matter what type of business you're running. It is so rare. So,
but anyway, it's it's I know that two-factor to go to your cell phone. I mean, people can get your number. It's but it's better than nothing.
But again, two-factor with a cell phone, right? The vulnerability is within the cell supplier, the cell network supplier. The vulnerability there, if there is any, is human beings working in the cell company service that can clone your SIM, for example, right? Again, very unlikely. You need to be highly targeted in order for something like that to actually work.
But for people like us talking about it,
for most people, if that's the only option, use it.
We think, hey, it's not safe. It can be broken. But for the regular person, for the lay person out there, use it. Absolutely. It can't hurt. It's not exposing you to anything. But
even if it can be broken, still use it. It's still better.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I mean. Yeah. So it was interesting that the bank said no 2FA, but actually there was multiple. Do you want us to text you? Do you want us to call you on this number? Or, I mean, the numbers had to be there. He said, can I change the number? I said, I hope you cannot, because it'll be, it's not worth anything.
You can. You need to log in. You need, I mean, I don't know the bank system specifically, right? But you usually can, and it requires like approval from here and approval from here, and you need there's a whole set of authentication, of cross-referencing authentication. It should be safe.
Yeah, but the thing is that if somebody already logged into his account, where I'm assuming, then they can add another number. And if it wasn't working,
the most important thing to change when something get hacked, right? The most important thing to change, other than that password, is your email password as well.
Yeah.
And it's a pain because usually there's multiple applications that are connected to it, and there's some, maybe some automation, but always also change your email password, because it could be that the way that somebody gained access in the first place is through your email. Because you can reset passwords, you can delete the emails that were sent and all that. That still
he did not have email. He had cell and text. I mean, call me or text me.
You are talking about the MFA enabling.
Yeah.
But you still log in, and there might be
I see.
an
I see what you mean.
process.
Yes.
I forgot my password. Send it to my email.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Yeah.
True. Well,
you can't change your phone number easily, but you can definitely change your password to your email easily. So
yeah. Good point.
By the way, for Gmail users, actually not sure about Gmail so much as I know about Google for applications. So if you have the enterprise version of Google, even if you deleted mail and removed it from the bin, the email is still recoverable for, I don't remember how many days. So there's it might be also for Google. I'll find it after when we move to the next section. But there's a way of recovering deleted email. And so if you are suspicious that somebody logged in and deleted the notification that you get via email about previous logins, there should be a way of even finding that. So
okay.
Yeah, I'll find that and I'll share it here.
Okay. All right. Nick, shall we start? Shall we go for the specials?
Yeah, make sure you refresh your page.
I did,
because I update. Okay. Yeah. Well, I updated it like 5 minutes ago. So refresh your page again if you would. And yes, we can get into specials whenever you're ready.
There we go.
So this picture was posted in one of the Facebook groups I'm in, and this is a managed service provider that took over a customer's IT needs. And they said they found this under a desk. Now, immediately I saw this and I thought that the post was just them complaining about a 4-port switch under a desk. But it was in fact not. It is actually, if you can see, that black cable is looped back into the switch itself. So whoever did this, likely the end user, not the prior IT company.
Right.
The white cable is the uplink from the wall port, and somebody has cross-connected and created a loopback. I'm surprised the network still worked or works at all.
Yeah,
This is unfortunately very common in the IT space because something gets unplugged and users just see an open port and they'll just plug whatever in and not trace the other end. So this switch is doing literally nothing but creating a loopback.
right.
Well, I'm guessing that this specific switch actually did nothing, period, because
Hopefully.
it probably detected that both ports are within its namespace and didn't. So this is actually good because this is the difference between a switch and a hub. If it was a hub, it was chaos, right? Because it creates noise, a loopback feed. Because it's a switch, they're probably cut off and they're not making noise to the uplink. So
Yeah, but it's still
they got lucky
ridiculous.
that the network worked.
Yep, I've seen issues like this. We had a crazy amount of time troubleshooting weird sporadic network issues, and very often it was a switch or something like this that somebody I didn't realize. Yeah, so on and so forth. All right, let's move on to old specials here for this final Sunday of October the 30th. This is a really great deal over at Staples. So this is an Asus VivoBook 15. We've had a couple of these VivoBooks in the past few weeks. One was a 13-inch and one was a 17-inch. So here's the middle. This is a 15.6-inch laptop running a 12th gen processor, which we've talked a lot about. It's an i3, the i3 1220p. Unfortunately, it only comes with a stock 4 gigabytes of RAM, but it is upgradable on this device. It's got another DIN so that you can put more RAM into it. Comes with a 256 gigabyte solid state drive, and it is running Windows 11 right out of the gate. This is normally a $500 computer. It's on sale for just $279 over at Staples. You can get it shipped and delivered, or you can actually pick it up in store. At least the Staples here in Wilmington's got them in stock, so might be your case depending on where you live. You can check that out for 44% off over at Staples.
Any idea?
And we can't stress it enough. i3 12 Gen, right, is phenomenal, right? It's like, it's not a low-end CPU anymore.
No, but I will note that if you're going to buy this computer, you need to upgrade the RAM or you're going to have a bad
RAM,
time.
Yeah. The fact that they pair it with so little RAM is ridiculous. I agree. They don't sell cell phone with 4 gigabyte RAM anymore. It's like.
So can you also, do you know if you can upgrade the hard drive also?
I'm sure it's an NVMe drive, so you probably could. My guess would be you can. Very rarely are those drives soldered in. They're all just using NVMe's because they're so cheap. But you can check out all the specs and all that over at Staples. All right, I dug through the last 7 specials to make sure that this computer was not already in specials in weeks past, and it was not. Gateway is making new computers apparently because this is the first time this one has popped up. And this is interesting. This is a Windows 11, and Gal, I think you'll find this interesting. This is a Windows 11 computer running a Snapdragon Qualcomm processor. This is not running an AMD chip.
It's an ARM-based Windows.
It's an ARM-based Windows computer, which is very interesting. I haven't seen, you see a lot of Chromebooks that run this, but I've not seen Windows computers that are selling.
Windows has been doing it for the past 3 to 4 years. Windows 10, Windows 11.
It supports it, but
I agree.
Yeah, and a lot of the support for that was for devices like Raspberry Pis and BeagleBones so that you could run Windows. But in this case, Gigabyte is selling this. This is a 13.3-inch Gateway laptop. It's running a Snapdragon 850 mobile. It's got LTE built in, so you can get a cell connection for it, which is pretty cool. You can add a line to your smartphone plan, which is part of that Qualcomm Snapdragon processor is the LTE modem built into the computer, which is pretty interesting. 4 gigabytes of memory, 128 gigabytes worth of storage, and it comes with Windows 10S with a free upgrade to Windows 11. This is normally $300, and it is on sale for just $129 over at Walmart. I think it's really cool that it's got a modem. That's a really, really cool feature. It actually, surprisingly, listen to this, Gal, it charges with USB-C, which is pretty interesting.
Hold on. This is a 13-inch, $129
cell phone. yeah, essentially. Now I don't know
running Windows.
Now it's interesting. You mentioned that it's a cell phone. I wonder if you can run the Windows 98 fax program. Still runs on Windows 11, and I wonder if you can use the fax program because technically you will have a phone number.
I think I have an answer. So I was about to say, beware. The fact that it's Windows and still, but running on an ARM architecture means a lot of stuff isn't going to work. Okay, older executables that aren't built for the architecture will not work. You need what will work. Most of what's available on Windows Store on this machine will work. It doesn't mean that if you see it right now on an Intel architecture Windows Store, it'll work. But there are all of the applications that were built with Windows 10, Windows 11 specific technology. They might work because they are .NET based, and .NET can be CPU agnostic. So buyer beware, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's not going to function the same way as a Windows 10 machine on an Intel for a lot of things, but there is still quite a bit that it's going to be very convenient. So you'll be able to browse the network. You'll be able to get pretty much a lot of functionality web-based. You will be able to get some functionality locally on it, but it's not going to be the same. So
you get what you pay for.
This is a very 13-inch, 129. Does it say how much RAM does it have?
4 gigs, and I don't know that it's upgradable. My guess would be it's probably not because it's such a cheap computer. But interesting to note, it does have 351 reviews, and it has a 4.7 star. So this thing is people that are buying it again for the use case of essentially just essentially a Chromebook for all intents and purposes, running Windows.
Windows,
they seem to really like it. Yeah. So it's cool that it's got the LTE modem. I don't know that I've seen that recently in a computer at all because they're not, of course, running Qualcomm chips. But yeah, you could check that out over at Walmart.
Huh? Right. So I know Gateway is the purchase. What was it? Asus bought them, and they're Asus, right? And they have a specific licensing deal with Walmart. So I know they're creating all of this for Walmart. And does Walmart have a fake spot?
Yes. Yes.
So I wonder if those reviews are, if they're legit, then
it does say this, and Walmart has them a lot. It says a lot of these reviews are from Gateway's website, and it says right in the disclaimer, this review was collected as part of the promotion from Gateway's website. So still take that. Here's the thing: it's $129 laptop.
No, it's low risk. I agree. It's
check that out over at Walmart. All right, let's keep rolling here. Next up is the Arcade 1-Up countercade. So this is what you put on top of a countertop or a table, and they've got a couple of different versions available: Pac-Man, Galaga 88, or Mrs. Pac-Man. This is normally $157, and this is actually over at QVC on sale for $79.98. You can check that out. It comes with free shipping and handling. Next up, if you have a home theater computer, or maybe you have a computer connected to your television and whipping out a keyboard and mouse is just a pain in the rear end, I've used one of these in the past, and I have one. Actually, I lost it, but I had one of these, and I really liked it. I left it somewhere. This is the Logitech K400, which is a relatively small keyboard with a trackpad built right into it. So it's perfect for Raspberry Pis, a MacBook, or excuse me, an iMac or something like that, where you don't need the whole thing of a keyboard and then having a separate mouse. These are really nice devices. It's normally $28. It's on sale over at Amazon for just $19.99, and it does come with the Logitech. Somebody, God help me out. What is the Logitech dongle called?
Unifying.
Yeah, the Unify receiver.
Receiver, yeah.
That Logitech has, so that you can, it'll connect with multiple Logitech devices. So it's got a couple of cool features, built-in volume controls and stuff as well. Check that out over at Amazon.
Is this keyboard the type that can switch between multiple devices, or this is just with the dongle?
Just with the dongle, one device. It is not Bluetooth. It doesn't support multiple devices. Now, it does support multiple devices if you have multiple Unify receivers. You could use it that way. I don't know how the process works.
You need to pair that. It can switch.
Correct.
You can switch pairing always, but yeah, that's the unifying receiver. But yeah.
So it's not some of your cheaper ones that'll connect to 3 or 4 devices, but it is a really nice device. I was always happy using it. Next up, a Thunderbolt dock. This is pretty cool. This is an Amazon basic branded Thunderbolt dock, and it's got a couple of cool features on it, including both a full-size micro or full-size compact flash spot and a SD card slot and a micro SD card slot. It's got a combo headphone microphone jack. It's got a 10 gigabit USB or 10 gigabit Thunderbolt pass-through port. It's got a 10 gig USB-C or USB Type A and a 10 gig 1.5 amp charging port. It's also got two ways to display DisplayPort 1.4 and a Thunderbolt that you can use a Thunderbolt to HDMI adapter. Also has an RJ45 built into it as well. So if you have a computer with Thunderbolt and you need a Thunderbolt dock, this dock is normally $230. Thunderbolt docks are very expensive, and it's on sale on Amazon for just $83. It does need to be powered separately. There's a power brick that comes with it. If you have a Thunderbolt computer, you know what this is. You can check this out over at Amazon. Next up, thought this was just kind of a cool deal on sale. And no, I'm a little bit of a weather geek. Here is a Vondeer portable radio. It's AM, FM, and weather band, which allows you to tune in the NOAA weather radio stations, which are across the country for emergency alerts. That's between 162.4 and 162.5 megahertz, which is the weather radio band. This device is normally $40. It's got a headphone jack and some other stuff, but this is just a little portable radio. It's on sale for just $10. So pretty hard to beat for an emergency kit, or if you just maybe want an AM or FM radio to have inside the house. This thing is tiny. It's a little bit bigger than the size of a credit card. So this is not a very large device. So you can check that out over at Amazon for just $10.
Nick, is this an emergency, like the stuff that we have, that if there's something going on, it comes on by itself? No,
it's not going to come on by itself. It's not it doesn't have SAME, which is the SAME is the protocol that's used for emergency alerts, but you can tune into that band and hear those alerts.
Yeah.
So pretty cool device for just $10. All right, next up. No, this is not a bird. It looks like a Seahawk, but it is in fact a wireless router. But it is the Netgear Nighthawk. This is the AXE 7300 tri-band router. You might think, damn, $229. That's pretty expensive. And this is not a low-end, cheap router, but there's a couple of cool features on this that make it neat for the future. It's got 2.5 gig built into it. So you're starting to see some more even middle tier motherboards, if you're building your own computer that have 2.5 gigabit networking built right in. That's most standards now are gigabit. This is 2.5 gigabit. So it's got a 2.5 gigabit port, or you can use so it's got a separate 2.5 gigabit port, and you can also trunk two of the ports to act as a 2 gig. So you can essentially trunk two 1 gigabit ports and act as 2 gigs. So you can get 2.5 gigabit port or two 1 gigabit ports aggregated into one link. And it's a Netgear. It's a Netgear Nighthawk router. Netgear makes really, really good routers. And while $229 is still pretty expensive, it's normally $400. So you're saving $175 on that. And Best Buy is already running their Black Friday special. That's what this is part of. So it's got a whole bunch of cool ports on the back. It's a pretty powerful device. Supports, it's a tri-band, so 2.4, 5, and 6 gigahertz wireless. They say they offer upwards of 7.5 gigabits for streaming over Wi-Fi. VPN support is built into it as well. It's got a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core processor. It's got a USB Type-C port so that you can connect a USB device to a USB hard drive at Type-C and get upwards of 10 times the speed of USB 2.0 for your network device. This is a pretty high-end router for home use at just $229.
And the form factor was designed by Lucasfilm.
Yeah, something like that. It's definitely an interesting device. Those wings do flap down, but if
that's probably the antenna. That's probably the antennas.
Well, they are the antennas. So while they do collapse down for the best range of this device, you're going to want to have it fully extended. So if your goal is to clamp this thing down and like shove it under a shelf, you're not going to get the best performance. In a small house, you'll be fine. But if you're looking for wider range, you're going to need to have those little fins up. Next up, I thought this was kind of a neat looking device. It's not really tech, but it's got some cool tech features built onto it. This is Walmart's brand. This is one of Walmart's automotive brands known as Everstart. So this is a jump pack. And we've talked about these little lithium ion packs in the past. This is a different style device. It's a much larger device. This is a 700 amp peak battery jump starter, but it's also got some other cool features in it as well, including 3 USB type A ports that'll output upwards of 3.1 amps each. It is completely rechargeable as well. It's got a light built into it. So this is a cool device to maybe keep in the car if that little USB device isn't enough for you and you want something with a little bit more power. You can check this device out over at Walmart. It's normally $60. It's on sale for $35.48, and it does have a rechargeable battery in it. That's how it handles the jumping and the USB powering as well.
But it's not lithium.
No, I believe it is lithium ion.
Really? That is cheap. That is cheap. This is everybody should have one of these in their car.
Yeah,
never mind. Keep going.
I'll do some research on that after specials, and I'll let you know for sure. The only reason I'm assuming it's lithium ion is because it's got the USB chargers built into it. I guess it could be something else, but so yeah, that's available over at Walmart if somebody wants to look it up while we're finishing up specials. Next up, I'm going to start putting a little disclaimer on each specials. This is the deal of the week. Element is a cheap brand, but a more than suitable cheap television brand. This is a 58-inch Roku smart TV that's normally $500 on sale over at Target for just $199 for this. 58-inch 4K TV with smart functionality built in. So unbelievably cheap for this television. You can check that out. It's not available online. You do have to get it in store, but I checked a couple of the Targets across the state. Ones here in Wilmington have it. Looking across the map, they're available in Jacksonville, North Carolina as well. So you can get this at various stores. It's nearly a 60-inch television for $200 bucks is a really hard deal to beat over at Target. Next up, if you are in the neighborhood for a micro SD card for maybe a 3D printer or one of those cheap Chinese security cameras, this is a 128 gigabyte Amazon Basic card for just $7.20. It's 50% off. You can also get a 256 gig for $13 or a 512 gig for $64. You can also get a 1 terabyte drive, a micro SD for 1 terabyte for $158. All of this available over at Amazon. You click the link in the specials for that. All right, one final thing. I saw this early this morning. This is a Logitech G203 wired gaming mouse that's got RGB built into it. It does not have a whole bunch of buttons, but it does have 2 side buttons that you can use that are completely programmable for forward and back or Control-C, Control-V. This is normally a $40 mouse. It's on sale for just $19.99. It supports up to 8,000 DPI and links together with Logitech's LightSync RGB technology, so you can link it to you can sync it with all of the other RGB devices you might have. That's available over at Amazon. And then finally, we know golf is very frustrating. So how about a toddler golf set? This is the complete golf toy play set for kids. It comes with 3 junior golf clubs plus 3 junior golf balls, 2 practice holes, and 1 golf cart with wheels. So if you're very frustrated at golfing, and maybe this is how you get your start, this is normally $23. It's on sale for just $6.71. So if you maybe you're not adult enough to maybe you don't trust yourself to snap a golf club over your leg when you're out golfing, try this out for size. It's available for $6.71 over at Amazon. And that is our final special of the day. But I did want to also note that there is a sale going on over at the Smartest House. They're running their Spooktober sale. Smartest House makes a bunch of cool Z-Wave style devices. And you can see some of the things that they've got here. They've got Z-Wave hubs, relays, water valves, outdoor plugs, shock sensors, humidity sensors, light switches, a whole bunch of devices all on sale over at the smartesthouse.com as part of their what was it called? Spooktober sale. Yeah. So that is
So the
specials.
What?
The battery, the text on the box says contained sealed lead acid non-spill battery.
Okay.
Lead acid.
So it's an AGM.
It does say AGM gel and lead acid compatible.
Okay. Well, the good news about it is you plug it in by charging it. You just hook it up to. It's got dual prong 120s coming out of it. And you just use an extension cord to charge it. So
keep in mind also it's only rated for 4 and 6 cylinder engines.
I don't know about that.
That's it says on there.
Yeah, but it'll work.
Well, it's possible. The comments I read said that it's not rated for 8 cylinders or diesels.
yeah, I mean, if you're looking to jump a diesel, you probably need something a little bit.
This is a great habit in your car. Most cars today have 4 and 6 cylinder anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And again, it's a little bit more. I have one of those lithium ion jump packs. I know Amnon does too. And those are really nice. But I shouldn't say they're relatively limited. They're smaller devices.
Not as versatile.
They're not as versatile. That's
Right.
a great word to use for it. This is your next tier up. If you're looking, maybe you're not sold on the idea of the lithium ion pack. It still makes you a little nervous. This is your next tier, and again, pretty hard deal to beat for just $35. So yeah, really good, really cool specials this week as we approach Halloween.
For this technology, that's a great price. I've had several of these in the past, and they were always north of 100. So
yeah,
for a good one.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I try.
Halloween is coming, And Apple is increasing the prices across its services, including Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, and its overarching Apple One subscription. According to a report, this marks the first time the company has raised the price of these services in the US. So here's the breakdown. Apple Music for individuals will increase by $1 to $10.99 or $10 for the annual plan. Apple Music for families is going up by $2 a month to $16.99. Apple TV is going up by $2 a month to $6.99 or $20 annually to $69. Apple TV costs $69 a year. I mean, that's not too bad. Is it?
Well, it's how much
$69 a year.
for Apple TV?
After it says Apple TV is going up by $2 a month to $6.99 or $20 annually to $69. Katie, I know you have Apple TV. Oh no, you have
Sometimes
Disney
12
TV. I'm sorry.
that doesn't
Oh,
make
yeah.
sense.
I don't have Apple TV.
That's right. You have Disney TV. Yeah. I don't know.
That pricing doesn't add up. It's so wait, so it's $84 if you pay it monthly. You're telling me if you just do it one shot, it's $70?
Yeah, it says that.
So you're paying for 10 months if you do the annual. You're getting 12 months for 10. The cost of 10. Okay. I was confused there. That's pretty common, I guess.
That's pretty nice.
Yes, but
Yeah, it all adds
Add it
up.
up.
Remember.
it all adds up, and that's exactly it.
Is that the
I guess
is
the
that
good
the
thing
same
is
as-
though. Oh, it's been
I was going to say, is that the same as Apple TV Plus?
No,
Yes.
they
So
said,
it's
well,
a
they
different
said
service.
Apple TV. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's the basic
That's-
service. Yeah.
yeah, but Apple TV Plus is the TV service.
Okay.
The interesting thing to know, we talk about this, and you have to be what's the word I'm looking for?
Try.
I don't even know. You have to be let me say it, and then we'll
Yeah.
try to figure it out. You don't have to be subscribed to these services for a year. And if you're willing to manage your subscriptions, you can actually make out pretty well with this stuff. If you like a show like, for example, Ted Lasso, which is Apple TV's, I think, most popular show. When the new season of Ted Lasso comes out, you subscribe to Apple TV for 2 months, maybe, at the cost of $14.
Wait for it to complete first.
True. You could do that too. Well, I think Ted
Yeah.
Lasso is a one shot. I don't know if they release episode
No.
by episode.
Apple TV, they release 2 or 3 episodes and then 1 a week.
Gotcha. Okay. So then, you wait till it's done. Maybe you subscribe for a month or 2 to watch the whole series for $14 and then cancel it. Okay. The word I figured out. You need, if you can be disciplined is the word I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah.
You can actually make out pretty well with these services. The problem is a lot of people subscribe for $7 a month. They think it's a pain in the ass to cancel, so they continue to pay for it even though they're not using it. If you're going to be disciplined, these services are fine. You don't need to be subscribed to Netflix year round if you only watch Stranger Things. Or you don't need to be subscribed to Disney Plus if you're only watching, whatever. You can come and go with your subscription that's how this stuff is a lot cheaper. But if you subscribe to all of them for a year, you're right. You're gonna
Yeah.
spend a fortune.
It's a fortune. Absolutely.
I'm waiting for the Pirates subscription. It's like let's say there's this company you pay $15 a month, and they send like $1 to Netflix, $1 to Amazon, $1, and it's okay, and you can use torrents and stuff at home. And I'm waiting for that company to show up. One
It's
that
there.
does not
It's already
tie me
there.
in.
It's already there. I know people that subscribe to an offshore
Yeah, but
subscription service.
Yeah, but those services don't send $1
Yeah,
here.
but they're
$1
not
there.
legal, right?
Yeah.
They're not approved by those companies, and eventually they will be haunted. They will be.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. All right. So here is another interesting. Wait a second. There was something about phones and Verizon. Verizon announced a new prepaid phone plans with lower prices. But thanks to some clever shuffling of plan discounts, they're not actually getting any cheaper. So while the
course.
published prices on its unlimited and 15 gigabyte prepaid plans are indeed $5 lower, the company will no longer let you apply auto pay and loyalty discounts, meaning the lowest price on each plan stays exactly the same. Isn't that
Well,
amazing?
at least you don't need to go on autopay.
But by the same kind of I don't know, I call it not policy, but it's not a trick. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's the ridiculous thing. The availability of Comcast's promised internet speed boosts has a catch. User need to purchase a $25 per month Xfi complete add-on. So it's going to cost you $25 more a month. As markets launch, Xfinity Internet customers who subscribe to Xfi Complete will have their upload speed increase between, you ready for that? $25 a month. Between 5 and 10 times faster. This is what they said last week. Xfi Complete include an Xfi Gateway, advanced cybersecurity protection at home and on the go, auto upgrades for a new gateway after 3 years, and wall-to-wall Wi-Fi coverage with an Xfi pod. It's an
unless you have Google Fiber or AT&T Fiber in your neighborhood.
Oh, true.
And then they'll give you the good, and then they'll give you the good price.
But it's getting but it's getting even weirder. Now another benefit of Xfi Complete is faster upload speeds. Comcast is deploying the speed upgrade in the Northeast US over the next couple of months. Plans with 10 megabits upload speed will get up to 100 megabits. Wow, for $25.
You know what this feels like? This feels like Steve Jobs unveiling iPhone 3 with the regular audio jack, the regular 3.5 audio jack.
Even Spectrum did not do it that bad when they would upgrade you.
Yeah. With Spectrum, at least for me, I remember it was like a silent upgrade. I got a mail, a letter in the mail saying that you've already been upgraded because they were afraid of
losing
desertion to the local fiber.
Right.
So yeah.
Yep.
I'm deserting the local Spectrum this week. AT&T is coming on the 2nd to install.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm ready.
So here,
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I've been reading here, fascinated by an article about fractal programming.
Okay.
And what that means and what the benefits are, which is, I know I'd heard of this before and I never really saw what the applications were. What is your opinion of this?
I'm not sure I know what fractal programming.
Well, it supposedly has been around for a while, but what it does is it because of its much smaller applications can be written a lot smaller, but they're faster. I'll send you the article I'm reading. And it's
all right. So
there's a company out there called Omega 4 that uses fractal technology. And they talk about it being around for 30 years. It was a government program that was created. But they said the programs, so most applications cost 1/10 of the cost of the legacy version of the application. Most applications are delivered into production in a single business quarter. I mean, there's all kinds of advantages to it. But they're talking about it's a new type of stack that reduces I/O to virtual zero. And it sounds too good. That's what's making me weird.
Oh.
The article I first found was about how there's analysis being done of voter records around the country, and that the traditional way of searching a database takes very long. But using fractal programming, they are able to search gigantic records in a lot shorter period of time and compare. Like they might take 25 versions of a database and be able to compare them very quickly. So I'll put a link.
So if it's something
All right.
specific about data analysis and a different process, right, then it might
Yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah,
The
it's-
word fractal programming, right, doesn't it? It's like I can't even. I don't know how
They're
to
trying to
categorize it
create
yet.
a buzzword, probably.
No,
It
that's
feels
what it was
that way
called.
in a
It's-
way. So,
This
but
company is just, they're saying they go back. There was the US government that had invested in this back 35 years ago.
yeah, well, Google is also invested by the U.S. government,
No,
right?
I know, I realize. Just the reason it came up is because of the way they're able to quickly go through voter records, searching for changes. If you were to search a voter record today, the one that's the latest one, you wouldn't necessarily find any inconsistencies. But what they're saying they can do is they can take like 25 versions of that and quickly go through and find someone who was inactive, suddenly became active, and went back inactive again that would normally be missed.
I
And this
wonder
was
if I
the way
can
they
find
did
any
it.
specifics about it. If I will, I'll read about it and
Yeah.
see what.
Well,
All right.
I'll
Yeah, send him the article.
There's
and
a
we
link
can-
to an article about.
We can
voter-
Spence send the link and
I'm gonna
and,
send it.
and let's discuss it when.
Yeah, when we understand it. I didn't
Yeah.
know if you were on top of it or what.
So Nick was talking about this laptop, the cheap one. So listen to this. Earlier this year, Microsoft announced that it would be releasing new hardware to encourage more developers to start using and supporting the ARM version of Windows, dubbed Project Volterra. All we knew about it at the time was that it would use an unnamed Qualcomm Snapdragon processor and NVMe based storage, that it would support at least 2 monitors, and that it would have decent number of ports. So last week, Microsoft put Volterra out into the world, complete with a snappy new name, the Windows Dev Kit 2023. It says the Dev Kit 2023 will use Snapdragon 8CX Gen 3, essentially the same chip as the Microsoft SQ3. I don't know what that is. In the new 5G version of the Surface Pro 9, plus 512 gig of storage and a whopping 32 gig of RAM for the surprisingly low price of $599. We don't know exactly how fast the 8CX Gen 3 will be. Qualcomm says that it's 85% faster CPU performance than the 8CX Gen 2, which would put it somewhere below but within spitting distance of modern Core i5 laptop CPU. But
They're targeting the Apple M1
Yeah.
M2 chips, basically.
I think it mentioned it here somewhere. But 512 gig of storage and 32 gig of memory would make the kit useful as a development and testing environment. Microsoft says the box can connect up to 3 monitors simultaneously using its 2 USB-C ports and mini display port, and that up to 2 of these displays can be 4K screens running at 60 hertz, 3 USB-A ports, gigabit Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6, and Bluetooth 5.9 round out the connectivity options. Looks like it's got a bunch of connectivity, a lot of RAM, enough storage, and it's $600. Now, yes, it's supposed to run the Windows ARM version of Windows, and they're trying to put it out there right now for developers to develop more programs for it. But yeah, it was mentioned that they are trying to compete with the new Apple stuff. But that's amazing.
I mean, this is a very interesting turn of events, because if they are successful, two things are happening here. One is they're no longer going to be Intel specific, and if they
Right.
succeed, right, it's gonna put Qualcomm in a very, very
Good
advantageous
position. Yeah.
position. Yeah, very interesting.
Yep. Nick, were you listening? Or you were?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this happened a couple of months ago, and it didn't end up going through. Nvidia was trying to purchase ARM.
Yeah.
And that process was actually blocked by, I don't know if it was a US court or some other court, maybe in the EU or something. But yeah, ARM is definitely on the rise. And it's funny because ARM chips are not really new. Well, they're not new, but in terms of the general usability, you go back to the Raspberry Pi, which has been a popular device for years now, and that's been an ARM processor.
Yeah, they never.
I mean, all our cell phones have been ARM from the beginning, right? All the smartphones.
But we don't ever see that because we're never, all the programs are built to work on ARM, so it's never been a problem. But there's a Windows distribution.
Yeah, they're getting into the main.
Pi,
they're getting into the
which is
main
cool.
stream. It's interesting. Yep.
Yeah, which is and this means a couple of things. It means lower power consumption, significantly lower power consumption, and better prices for consumers. This is all in all a win. And the real question, like Gal mentioned, is will the software developers
embrace it?
Now, older software, you're SOL. I mean, you're not going to ask some guy's not going to come out of retirement to update his 20-year-old software to work on your ARM chip. But there are things like Wine and other things that can emulate an x86 based ecosystem, to run it on. So there are alternatives and solutions, but for the most part, anything new is going to be ARM compatible for sure.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to see servers and cloud computing ARM based a lot more, because it's going to be cheaper for the data center to run it, right? Power consumption wise. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. M1 is interesting in itself, but M1 is its own beast at this point. And the interesting thing that if you're going to select an outlier, right, you don't want the Intel architecture because it's power hungry or something like that. You would prefer the ARM chip over M1 because M1 requires an investment in completely new knowledge when ARM is already there, and the world has been working with ARM massively for the past 15 years, right? So very interesting turn of events. Yeah.
Yep. All right. And Core Light. Not Core Lights, Core Light.
Coors Light?
Core, not Coors.
Oh.
Core. The leader in open network detection and response announced the integration of Zeek, the world's most popular open source network security monitoring platform, as a component of Microsoft Windows and Defender for endpoint. The integration will help security teams respond to the most challenging attacks by providing richer signals for advanced threat hunting complete and accurate discovery of IoT devices, and more powerful detection and response capabilities. Anybody ever heard of Zeek?
Nope.
No.
Open source network security monitoring tool, zeek.org, Z-E-E-K
Yeah.
org.
I never heard of it, but it's if it's going to be
I will.
integrated into Windows, that must be something that Microsoft is going for.
I mean, first of all, seeing something that is supposed to be high profile, I would not call it that high profile. Its GitHub page has 4,800 stars, right? 4.8K stars.
Mhm.
I've seen projects, open source projects with much more than that. But
Okay.
the fact that it is being integrated into Windows is very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. There's a lot of Windows stuff today that, especially things that are being installed after the fact, right? The things that can be downloaded through the Windows Store and are made by Microsoft that are available as open source applications. It's not. Microsoft has been exploring the open source market for a long time, but having a very prominent piece of software, this is a complex software. It has a history. 13,000 commits it means it has been running for a while. A lot of people are involved. Being part of the Windows ecosystem, being integrated into it, very interesting. I would agree.
Yep. It's a good thing.
This is definitely not Bill Gates's Microsoft from
No.
early 2000s, right? It has changed.
So we
Steve
were
Ballmer.
talking about USB-C. Apple has given its most direct confirmation yet that the USB-C equipped iPhone will happen. Now that the European
Finally.
Union is what?
Finally.
Yeah. Now that the European Union is mandating that all phones sold in its member countries use the connector if they have a physical charger. When asked by the Wall Street Journal if the company would replace Lightning, Apple's senior VP of worldwide marketing, Greg Joswiak, answered by saying, obviously, we have to comply. We have no choice. So they're going to do it. Now,
there's something good about government putting their foot down on something like this. I just don't know where it's going to backfire. That's the problem.
very interesting that the EU said that they have to have USB-C if they have a physical charger.
Yeah,
Why
because
couldn't
you
they
can
say,
do
okay,
wireless?
Yeah, so why couldn't they say, okay, ours is just wireless? I'm sure most people with iPhones these days use wireless, probably.
Because then you have no peripherals.
No,
Can't
because
plug
then
in.
they'll
Oh.
need to bundle the wireless chargers, which are very expensive. And there is a very high fault on them compared to a wired one. And not only that, a wired one is at least 10 times more efficient in power consumption compared to a wireless one.
Okay.
Right? So
But
let's say you drop and go wireless completely, right? You are entering into a completely new hell. One that you're needing to deal with those who are monitoring your power consumption,
Yeah.
right? And advocating for wired, go back to wired, because there's still a vast passage. And not only that, you're going to get wireless charger blowing up phones and stuff like that, right? You're going to get a lot more hazard from it. Right now, Apple consumers are okay with buying Apple provided wireless chargers, right? But when that is the only way, then you start to see a growth in third party and unregulated manufacturers of it, right? And you're entering a hell that I don't think Apple is ready for.
Oh, all right, that's fine. I thought that Apple was not sending bundling a charger with their.
They're not.
Okay. Oh.
They are not. That was one of the big controversies with the current
Yeah,
iPhone is that you're spending $1,200 on a phone and it doesn't come with a freaking charger. Now, to be fair, Apple's whole thought and from my vantage point, I actually don't want another charger. So I'm perfectly okay with it not coming with one because I already have a whole bunch of chargers and then they pile up. So,
okay, here's something.
God, let me ask you this real quick before Amnon moves on.
Go ahead.
If you buy a laptop that's got a USB-C charging port, are those coming with USB-C chargers? Or are they expecting you to use a dock or something like that to charge it? Because I would imagine that might be the case in that environment as well.
No, so a laptop will need anywhere from 50 to 100 watts charger. So it comes with at least Dell. Our company right now uses XPS Dell 15, right? XPS 15. And so those come with a USB-C charger. And of course, you can hook it up to a Thunderbolt or USB-C docking station and with power delivery, and it just goes through. So but it will come with a charger. And so by the way, very interesting because I just bought a docking station and a charger so I can hook up laptops that I work on. And I got a genuine Dell charger for very cheap. You can see it's not like these are. There's no interest in going to a third-party market here because the actual component that the manufacturer sells are not that expensive.
Last week or the week prior, I talked about trying to charge and wanting to charge my new Lenovo laptop, which has USB-C but does not have USB-C charging with my 30,000 milliamp power bank. So I got this little cable thing after talking back and forth with Gal and reading some stuff online. And it's your traditional, well, in this case, it's a Lenovo style barrel plug on one side and a USB PD, it says PD on the other side for power delivery. So I got this and I tested it on my, not on my old Lenovo laptop that has the same charging port. And unfortunately, because the power bank I have only puts out 12 volts, it does not even trickle charge. So
because that's not power delivery.
It's not. I was hoping that it would see the 12 volts at even 2 amps and just attempt to do something, but it doesn't even do that. So my project after the election is over in 9 days is going to be to cut this USB-C cable in half, find the positive and the negative that's doing power delivery and use a DC to DC step-up converter to try and get 20 volts at maybe it'll probably be close to an amp and a half.
I don't think you will be able to do it from the battery going out, just because it's just not driving enough current. And so
that's my problem. Yeah, I'm just curious if I can give it 20 volts at even. Let's say I can give it 20 volts at, because that's what it needs to charge. 20 volts at 3/4 of an amp. I wonder if it will do anything.
No, so your problem is that PD, right? That's not just voltage, it's a complete protocol. So USB-C power delivery is a complete protocol. There is data exchange and negotiated about the charging requirements of the component being charged. So it's not that simple.
But on the so are you telling me that the problem is actually that the PD side of this is not going to pass through the current if it doesn't hit the PD specifications? Is that what your understanding is?
It may not.
I don't know about not passing, but I know that it is negotiating the requirements.
Nick,
because on this side, this
Nick-
side is not. There's no intelligence on
Right,
this
nothing.
side, right? This is just a
Agreed.
regular barrel connect. So
Agreed.
so maybe this is because I'm not giving it enough voltage. This which there is some logic in here
That
is
yeah,
not.
I'll
it's not
bet you
doing
what the logic is when to stop charging, and you will probably not.
Well, no, it's not going to not. Laptop chargers don't stop charging.
If they do, once it's full, you don't want to overcharge the battery.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
the
that-
battery gets disconnected on the laptop side. That
Yeah,
has
that's not
nothing
the
to do
charger.
with the
Oh.
cable.
Because a laptop is the
That's
laptop
true.
charger is
That's
always
true.
pushing voltage. So I'm gonna. This is more of just an interesting project. I don't actually need this. I just think it would be interesting if I can somehow use a 30,000 milliamp power bank, even for trickle charging, to a laptop that doesn't have USB-C. Again, I don't need it. There are some power banks that I looked at that do have 20 volts out at about 3 amps. That will solve my problem, but I don't want one of those. I want just because 20 volts. The laptop charger is 20 volts at 3.5 amps. That's what the barrel plug is. Out, at least on the Lenovo that I have, which is about 60, comes down to about 65 watts. So it's more of a test of futility than anything else. But I'll keep reporting back.
All right.
Hope I don't blow up my computer.
Talking about blowing
Whatever
stuff.
you do it while filming in slow motion.
Yeah, I should do that, and I thank God for this other. This is my. I just dropped it on the floor. That was my old Lenovo laptop. Was like $108 at Walmart a couple of years ago. So I mean, I don't really have much of a use for it now. So if I blow that up, it's not the end.
So talking about charging and talking about logic, Nvidia $1,600 GeForce RTX 4090 is an incredibly powerful graphics card, but its performance comes at the cost of high power draw. Like a few of the RTX 3000 series cards, Nvidia uses a new kind of 16-pin. It's a 12V HPWR power connector to supply all the power to the card. You can plug up to 4 8-pin GPU power cables into that adapter, which then plugs into the connector on the GPU, saving some board space. And people that have video cards that are high power know what we're talking about here. It's you don't just plug it into the motherboard, but there are also power supply connectors that go into the card to power it up.
Correct.
But at least 2 RT 4090 users are now reporting that their connectors on that card have overheated and melted during use. These complaints are sourced from Reddit via Tom's Hardware, so take them with a grain of salt. We don't know the exact configuration of either user's PC setup. The specific model of graphics card, a Gigabyte RTX 4090 gaming OC for one user, and an Asus RTX 490 TUF gaming OC edition for the other. The power supply and any number of other factors could have contributed to the connectors overheating.
So I watched a 45-minute video on this morning, actually, while I was doing specials. So interesting that you brought this up. It is still yet to be determined what is causing these to melt. And there's a couple of different theories. One guy from Russia, Igor something or other, who has like a technology blog, he is indicating that it is an issue with with pins snapping when you're connecting the cable, and so it's I don't want to go.
It doesn't make good connection.
It's confusing. It's not that it doesn't make good connection. So it's 4 plug it into your graphics card, and then it splits out into 4 different like little octopus
Pigtails.
Pigtails, correct. So his theory is that a couple of the solder joints are failing on the 12-volt rail. They're snapping off. There's not a good connection.
Mhm.
So it's causing more flow, more voltage is being drawn on the other 12-volt rails than, let's say you're supposed to have 4 12-volt rails. Well, if 2 of your connectors break, the solder joints snap, then the card is still drawing full power, and all of that power is now being sucked through 2 of those connectors instead of 4. So you've got significantly higher power draw on 2 connectors. That's one theory. The 45-minute video I watched this morning tested that theory and ran 3 different GPUs with those terminals desoldered for 8 hours on full load and did not experience the melting. So now there's a belief that there's a manufacturing defect on the actual pigtails, and that the cables might not necessarily be rated for what they're being used for. There's some images that indicate it's a 140-volt cable, others indicating it's a 300-volt cable. So there's still a lot unknown as of right now. Nvidia hasn't commented on it, but this is a pretty big scandal, especially if you spent $1,700 on a graphics card and now the power delivery port is completely melted. To say I would be pissed is an understatement. But yeah, this thing is it's a beast, and something is causing. Cards aren't lighting on fire. It's just the port is literally melting. The plastic, these plastic pins that you're plugging in.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, once those melt, other things they are going bad.
Yeah, it's possible. I haven't seen any reports of any fires yet.
No,
I don't just been that it's melted.
Yeah,
but it could. You're right. I mean, it could potentially cause.
Yep. All right. One more thing here. Not content with doing 28 billion in revenue in 2021, YouTube has recently gone to hunt for more revenue generating strategy. Now, the Google division has announced a price hike for YouTube Premium family plans. 9 to 5 Google was the first to spot the family plan is jumping over 27% in the US from $17.99 to $22.99, with other regions also seeing price hikes. Instead of making an official announcement, Google is quietly emailing existing subscribers. So far,
that's not quietly.
Well,
I mean you don't quietly send an email and tell you're raising the price.
So far, it does not seem like a single person YouTube Premium price, still $11.99 a month, is going up. The family plan lets a user share ad-free YouTube Premium with up to 5 same household family members. So it's going up anyway.
Yeah, I can tell you I'm paying for that plan.
Yeah.
And it's the first I'm hearing right now that it's going to rise, and I see no problem with it.
Well, and that was interestingly I was expecting, when I heard this story throughout the week, I was expecting mass outrage, but that's what I heard a lot of, Gal, is we really enjoy the family plan, and it's a pretty good deal at $17 a month because you get 4 users, I think, at that price. 5 users.
Yeah, 5.
So it's really not that much of an increase.
Look,
go ahead.
All of the other family plans, right? Everybody's doing family plans. Spotify, I'm guessing Pandora as well. I remember testing up. Amazon has their Prime Music that you can enable multiple accounts. So I am paying. Up until now, I paid the $17.99, right, for our accounts. We're 3 people. I'm paying that, and I get the YouTube Music, and I get YouTube Premium, right? So no ads, especially on the cell phone, right? On a PC, I can put an ad blocker, but on a cell phone, right, no ads. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that because I do know that with YouTube, right? Specifically, uh, and I get the library that they're providing music, which is comparable with Spotify by this point, and I get that additional value. Yeah, not too bad. It's the first time they're price hiking. Everybody's price hiking right now. Not a big deal. I
Okay.
don't see it as a big deal.
This is also on the heels of them announcing that 4K video will only be available for individuals that have YouTube, some sort of YouTube Red or YouTube Premium as well, which also I don't think is really that big of a deal. How many people are watching 4K content? And I mean, you could say, oh, well, I have a 4K TV. Yeah, great. But I mean,
if it
majority
pisses off somebody who has been consuming 4K for free, then I would say too bad for them. Doesn't sound like a big deal to me. Yeah.
No. Well, and when you look at YouTube's traffic, about 65% of it is on mobile anyway, which yes,
Right,
is technically a 4K screen, but having 4K video versus 144 1080 is not, there's no difference that you can detect on a screen of that size.
Agreed.
And then you talk about the desktop market. How many people are playing on 4K monitors are not very popular. Yes, 4K TVs are, but most monitors you're seeing are 1440p is that in. Now, if you're gaming with the TV, that's different, but most people aren't. So not really that big of a deal.
I can tell you, my son, right, as a gamer, I have the 42-inch TV. This used to be his gaming station. Right, when we bought him another computer, he opted for a smaller form factor, less resolution, higher refresh rate.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'm running a 120 hertz 1440p monitors. That's my two monitors here, and then I have a 1080p monitor above it for Discord and stuff like that.
All right. Remember,
I'm pissed about it though.
We were talking about PayPal getting into censoring and stuff.
Yes.
And then they said that it was a mistake and it was sent out.
Yes.
They didn't. Well, apparently now the article was saying that they waited until everything quieted down and it's back in there.
Yes.
But they were talking to people from PayPal who said that it was there forever,
which is not true.
Well, I'm just saying.
You can go to archive.org and look at the PayPal terms of conditions page and see that it was absolutely not there.
All right, good. So you looked at it. Yeah. So that's that. When I was reading the other article, but quietly, I remember that article here. It says that they're just waiting until all the rage subsided and everything is quiet, and went back to it, and without telling anybody.
Yeah, this is the misinformation. Fine, $2,500 per instance of misinformation.
Right. And they take the bank.
Spence, you're muted if you're trying to talk.
And they take your money out of the bank.
Yeah.
What I read was there was a fine in place, but it wasn't related to misinformation. It was related it was related to financial transactions that you faked or did something wrong, or you misled somebody with a financial transaction.
Yeah.
The misleading was the part of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you said I was selling you this, and in fact you screwed me over,
you could be fined for that. And supposedly, they took misinformation they was trying to take it to the next step to make it be beyond selling a product. So, who knows?
All right.
The weaponization of financial institutions. It is definitely an interesting time to be alive.
Your social credit score says you can't use your credit card again today.
Yeah, no kidding.
I guess that's it.
Good show.
This is it.
Great song, Kenny Loggins.
Yes. Yep. Make no mistake who you
No, it's also a theme from, what is it? One Day at a Time? Is it? This is it. It's one day at a time. Anyway,
Amnon, you're gonna be sued for
Yeah, I know.
copyright.
I know.
Yeah, the video's going to get blocked on
Yeah.
YouTube. Good
Yep.
job,
Yep.
Amnon.
Yep.
You've really done it this time.
You know what's weird? I was just doing something here. I forgot to check to see if the video is on Facebook. Sometimes I miss a number when I put it in the configuration, and it was on, and I saw that it says that it is blocked by Warner Music, whatever, blah blah blah. and this time when I clicked on it, it gave me place to dispute. Once it's over and it's no longer live, it just says that it's blocked in some countries and only you are seeing this. And if I click on that, it says the ban was the claimant removed their claim on it or whatever without me doing anything. But it's still there for me to see. So I'm going to leave this open here and put the license and see if that will do something. It's very interesting. It works for the live, but not for the recording. On YouTube, it's the other way around. They don't or they cannot check on live, but then once they go through it after you upload it, then they check. Anyway, anything else anybody wants to add?
If you're playing Call of Duty, hit me up.
Call of
New
Duty?
Call of Duty. Yeah, the new Call of Duty came out this week.
I don't play with Duty.
Okay, thanks.
I was reading something. I was thinking about you. That the price of
Right.
games.
I'm glad you mentioning Duty immediately brought a reaction. of you
No,
thinking
that's
about me.
not it. No, that the prices of games on Steam in Argentina went up 500%.
That sounds about right when you have a fake currency and an
Jeez.
economy that is ridiculous. Yeah, a fake economy. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so
Get what you vote for.
all right, guys.
Get out and vote, by the way. Got 9 more days.
So you still have next week to remind people.
Yep.
Oh.
Excuse me. In North Carolina, early vote ends on next Saturday. So if you want to early
I
vote, you
was
gotta do it this
reading a lot of stuff that people say don't early vote. Wait until the end so they will not know what's going on.
Yeah, people are idiots. People that think that are idiots,
Okay.
and they're just fools that peddle bullshit online. So,
All right.
yeah. Well, that's great. Wait till the end to vote. Then your car doesn't start, and then you can't vote because you waited until the last minute. So
Yeah.
good job, played yourself.
Well, I would
Good
say
point. Good
take
point.
advantage of the last couple of days of early voting, because look at what's happened since early voting started. You've had all these debates.
Yeah.
That people were voting for 2 weeks in some states before those events happened. And now a lot of people are saying, "Oop, changed my mind." I don't know that it affects the election that much, but
Oh, I think it
Well-
absolutely.
Okay, guys.
Toodaloo.
That was pretty good.
just
Thanks.
pretty good.
That was great.
Okay, that's better.
Alan in the chat says that AdGuard works great. That was on
Yeah.
special a couple of weeks ago. Glad to see that's working, Alan.
That's the
So,
personal shopper that goes with you everywhere and stops you from buying stuff.
yeah, he's an armed guard.
Standing there, when you go to grab something on a shelf, he smacks your hand away. No.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Spence. Thanks, Gal. Nick. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. And Yaakov, I hope you get better soon. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K. Now, we hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave, and you can listen to him anywhere. Or you can later go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. Tuesday at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. Survival games and gaming news. So Tuesday,
I don't think
7,
I talk enough.
You what?
I don't think I talk enough. I think I need to do some more shows.
7
I do 20 hours a week worth of content
Just
between radio and online.
Nick, live stream your life.
7 p.m.
Constant.
Tuesday on Twitch, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Listen to them. It's very interesting. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.